Hello everyone, I hope you're having a fantastic day. Thanks for joining me for my Try It Out Tuesday series. Today I'm trying out a new die. This is from Pretty Pink Posh and it's called the Happy Easter Shaker die. And I loved it because of the scalloped edging on it. So instead of a stamp set today, we're going to use this die to create our card. And so we're going to just jump in. I'm going to start off by taking a piece of white cardstock. Now this white cardstock is measured 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 inch in size. And what I'm going to do is take my double stitched rectangle dies. The nice thing about these dies here is it cuts out the panel, but it has stitching on the panel and then the outside edge on the positive and the negative. So it's going to create a really nice stitching. Next I'm going to take my die and place that right in the center of my panel there, just securing it with Post-it tape, and I'm going to run this through my Big Shot machine and die cut everything out. Now normally I would toss out the outside frame and just use my panel, but today I thought, you know what, I thought it'd be fun to add stitching on my card base. So I'm going to keep that frame and I'm going to just use some glue, actually my Nuvo Deluxe adhesive, and I'm going to glue that directly to my card base. My card base is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 inches, and so I thought the stitching would add a lot of detail to a plain white background. So I'm just going to glue it down and add that directly to my card base. Now once we have that glued down, I'm going to set that aside to dry, and then we're going to work on our panel. Now I'm going to use the inside panel of that egg also, but I think this die is so pretty. I love the flowers in it, but I wanted some color behind that panel. Eventually my egg's going to go right back in there, and so to add color I thought it'd be fun to use my Favorite Things mini cloud edges die, or stencil. I'm just going to add some pretty blue clouded background using some distress ink. This is peacock feathers, and I'm going to go along that entire back panel with my stencil, adding some little clouds. And when I got to the very bottom, I was looking at it and I thought, well, my egg is just going to be floating up in the sky. So I wanted to fix that. And so to fix that for me, I decided to go in with some Twisted Citron Distress ink on the very bottom. Just using my blending tool to add a little bit of green down there. And I think that adds a nice ground for my egg to be sitting on. And the neat thing too is when I went over my clouds turned into hills. So it was a good mishap. But I love the colors of the blue and the green. I just think it makes it really Eastery. And that's going to be my background. Okay, now we're going to work on our little egg. I wanted to leave the scallop, the edge around the egg, white. And I wanted my Happy Easter to pop. So I'm going to be using these detail blending tools. These are new to me, and they are so neat. They have little sponges, almost like your regular blending tool, but on a very mini scale. I thought to add some Versamark ink to my Happy Easter, these would work perfect. So I'm just dabbing it in my Versamark and going over the sentiment. And then I got a little bit on the flower and I didn't want to stick, so I put some Post-it tape on it. But I'm going to use my Nuvo Classic Silver embossing powder and just go over my Happy Easter. And those little blending tools worked really well. I really like them. Okay, I'm just going to melt that embossing powder. And I did miss a few spots, so I'm going to go over my Happy Easter one more time with some Versamark ink and my detail blending tool there. And then I'm going to add some more of the silver embossing powder, and then I'm going to go ahead and melt that. And it actually gave a lot of dimension to my sentiment, and I really liked the outcome of that. Plus the shiny silver was really pretty. Okay, now we need to color in our little flowers and leaves, and to do that I grabbed Twisted Citron, picked raspberry, and festive berries. We're going to start off by coloring in our little leaves using our new little toy here with the Twisted Citron. And just shading it lightly. I'm going to zoom in so you can see better. I'm just about finished with my leaves. And I'm adding a little bit more to some areas of the leaves just to give it a little bit of texture, a little bit of dimension. Next we're going to go in with the picked raspberry and color in our little flowers. Nice spring colors. And I'll leave links below, guys, to where you could find all these products. These were actually a very good investment for me. I got 2 packs of them, and I really think these were fun to play with, especially for those detailed dies. Okay, my flowers are colored in. Now to give my flowers a little bit of dimension, I'm going in just on little edges with the festive berries. And it gives a nice little shading to my flowers. So that's going to be my egg, and I think it turned out so pretty. Very spring. Okay, I cut out another panel that will fit the background of my my cloud background there. And then we're going to create a shaker. So I'm grabbing a piece of acetate, and I'm just going to trim it down so it fits my panel here. I didn't have too much room on the edges to use my tape runner to secure the acetate, so I'm just going to go around the edges with my Nuvo Deluxe adhesive to glue down my acetate, and that worked really well. Once the acetate is stuck to my panel really well, I'm going to go over the edges with some thin foam tape. This is, we're going to create a shaker, but instead of using sequins in the background, I thought it'd be fun to use some Easter grass. I like to use the paper Easter grass for my kids' Easter baskets. I found that the plastic Easter grass kind of gets stuck in my vacuum, so the paper works a lot better for me. So this is handy for cards too. So, and this, I actually picked this up last year. But I just added some to my background and then placed the panel behind it. And then eventually my egg is going to go right there. Now to give it a little bit more dimension on my card, I'm going to add some small dimensional adhesives to the back. And I'm actually going to cover up the flowers too. And then I'm going to place that back in its home on that panel. And I think that looks so fun. Actually, my lighting doesn't do it justice. It's kind of drowning out my sentiment, but in real life, the sentiment's popped, and it just looks really pretty. But I'm going to place my panel directly on my card base, right in the center of my frame, and I think that stitching along both edges really adds something to the card. Okay, now to fill in my little flower centers, I'm going to use some Pretty Pink Posh jewels. These are so pretty. This is pink blush jewels. These are really pretty because they're different sizes, and I'm just going to add all different sizes to the center of my flowers for a little bit of shimmer and shine. These are so pretty. Okay, and then once I have my little gems adhered, for close-up pictures too, guys, if you want to visit my blog or Instagram, you'll see, I use a different camera. I've said this before, but you'll be able to see the detail of the card better. But I'm just taking some real thin white twine or jute cord. I'm going to double it up and tie a bow. I'm going to just trim off the tails, and then using a glue dot, I'm going to secure that to the very top part of my little egg there. And then that will complete my card for today, my Try It Out Tuesday. Thanks so much for stopping by, guys. I love hearing your comments. Let me know what you think by leaving a comment below or hitting that thumbs up. I wish you a fantastic day, and we will see you again soon. Bye-bye.